Hi guys, it's Jax here, and this is the main part of how to make a coin ring. I showed in the first part the introduction of the coin rings themselves, and so I also said I'd include part 2, which is actually how you go about making a coin ring such as this. So, okay, so first thing you need is a nice hard piece of metal such as an anvil, nice flat, smooth, hard piece of metal like an anvil. You can also use a block of steel, a big bar of steel, a weightlifting weight, or a vise. You know, whatever you have at your disposal that's really hard, probably made out of metal. And the shinier and the smoother the surface, the better your ring should turn out. So first thing first, you need a hard, flat, nice piece of metal. Okay, and secondly, you need your coin that you were gonna start with in the first place. So here's my 20 centavo Mexican bronze coin. So now that you have your coin and your flat piece of metal, you'll need a hammer. You could do this with any size hammer. I hope this is in view here. Here's the hammer I've been using. It's just a little guy, and it's the hammer I was using for this coin here. So it's a small little hammer. I'm just looking in the camera to see how my focus settings are. Probably not the greatest, but anyways, if you don't have that kind of hammer, you can use your regular hammer around your house. Just know that the cleaner the surface of the hammer, the better the finish of your coin. So you can clean it off with sandpaper if it's really rusty and stuff like that, or you can just skip that and polish it out of the coin later. So I have made rings out of these big ass, what is this, a 2-pound hammer. I have made rings with this, but if you got a small hammer, you might want to use a small little hammer, so it might be better for you. Some guys actually do some amazing things, and they'll do the process I'm about to show you, but they'll use a kitchen spoon, the kind of spoon you'd eat your soup or your cereal with, and they use really light taps, or pretty good taps with a kitchen spoon, just a regular old stainless steel, you know, a dinner spoon type of thing. And they'll do the same thing, and they'll turn a coin, they'll hammer it so long and so many times that it will peen just like this one is doing. So and actually the smoother and the lighter the taps, probably the nicer the finish of the ring in the end. But don't worry if you don't want to do it, because it might take a lot of patience, or like a few thousand hits with a kitchen spoon. For the knife makers that are watching this, peening is an important skill that you might use in knife making later down the road. Like people like, you know, knives like case knives and stuff like that. A lot of the handles are straight tubes of rod, you know, tubular rod that are cut into pins, and then this was holding the handle scales on. They'll peen those on. So peening is a good skill for the knife maker too. So anyways, before I jabber on too much, here's my coin. So you got your coin, you got your flat surface, flat, clean, hard surface, and you got your hammer. So this is how you start this. You take your coin and you place it like this on your anvil or whatever, and you start tapping it and rotating it. Now, before I start doing this, I gotta say, if you hit it with some sort of savage caveman brute strength, you're gonna bend the coin. So you have to find the right power, if you will, to hit the coin. If you do it really light, it's gonna take you thousands of taps. Even this eventually will peen eventually those light taps will do this to a piece of metal, but it'll take you thousands of hits. So you find a nice amount of power to hit the coin with, because you're going to be hitting it a couple hundred times, maybe even 1,000 times or more. But just know, if you hit it too hard, you're going to fold the coin, and I'll give you an example of that right now. So I'm going to use this little washer. I'm going to sacrifice it to the I'm going to sacrifice it for sake of showing you what happens if you hit it too hard. So too much power, and hopefully it's making it out, but too much power, sorry guys, too much power and the coin is bent. And as soon as it's bent, you can either chuck it out or spend it on whatever, or hammer it flat, but try not to bend it in the first place, because you might just weaken the metal or whatever. So that's what'll happen if you hit it too hard. It'll bend. So you could also practice on a washer too. Here's just a steel washer. Might be a good chance to practice to see how hard to hit it or whatever. And you can make a ring out of this washer. It'd probably make a great guy's ring, but you can try it out on a washer first if you're going to be using a coin that you don't want to screw up. So anyways, just keep that in mind. If you hit it with a vicious blow, you're going to bend the coin. So anyways, so this is how you do it. You lay your coin on your hard surface, and you start peening. So I'm going to do this for a few. I'm going to give this a few hits here just to show you. So you would grab the coin like this, and you hit it, and as you hit it, you rotate it, so you're doing this kind of thing. Over and over and over again. So I'll show you right here. I'm just going to see if I'm in frame. Okay. And I'm going to put a light on just to help with the lighting. I hope that's helping. It probably is. So here we go. You can actually hit this with a surprising amount of force without bending it, but it's a real touch and go thing. Just that little excessive amount and you'll bend the coin. So maybe start light, but okay, so I just kind of, you would do that over and over and over and over, and you may think, oh shit, it's not working. But if you keep on doing it for half an hour, suddenly a coin that was this wide becomes this wide. And you might see little differences at first, but trust me, if you keep at it for 45 minutes, you'll go, oh yeah, there it goes. So anyways, you would keep on doing that kind of action. So here's an identical coin to the one I started on. And I don't know if you can make it out because I don't have macro or whatever set up, but this is in fact from a few times tapping it, it's already thicker than the coin that I haven't struck even once. It's the same coin, just a bit different in texture. Just one has a patina and one's a bit shinier. But so you do that. So once again. You try to hit it nice and straight and on the flat edge of the coin, because if you hit it at an angle, you'll put dents in the very edge. So you want to hit it dead on the flat part of the coin here. So anyways, that's what you do until you ended up with a thick band like this. And also note that the coin you choose makes a lot of difference. Like this is a bronze coin. So it's going to be easier probably to peen than a steel coin. It'll also be easier to bend too, so keep that in mind. So hopefully you find a right amount of power, and you know, throw your earphones on and break out your iPod and listen to some tunes or something like that, and give it a half an hour, 45 minutes. Eventually, after doing that for long enough, what will happen is you'll end up with this. Like, look at the folds in this thing. So, and when you finally get it to the point where you realize, okay, it's getting pretty thick, and if I hit it anymore, it's just going to be a smaller and smaller inner diameter. So if you're making it for your girlfriend or your wife or whatever, you might want to borrow a ring off of her before you start this to use as a guide to see when to stop. You would take her ring that she lent you and place it over the ring to try to match the size, or, you know, stuff like that. And if your ring falls right into that groove, you know, it's still needs more peening and stuff. So I hope you understand what I'm saying. You get an idea. Take one of your rings if you're making it for yourself and kind of see where you're at. So anyways, once you've peened it and spent the time hammering it like this, you stop when you want to stop, and you realize it's time to go on to the next step. Now the next step is you grab a drill. And so here we have a drill. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to find the exact center of your coin. You grab your drill and you put a nice sharp drill bit in it. You might want to use a big drill bit, maybe bigger would be better, maybe smaller, maybe doing a pilot hole would help. I'm not too sure. Anyways, you want to drill a hole in the center, very center of that coin. If you do a small hole, you'll have to break out a bigger drill bit and then drill a bigger and bigger and bigger hole, unless you start with a big drill bit to begin with. So you would find the center and drill yourself a hole. Now, coins aren't the toughest things. I mean they're not. They'll bend rather easy and stuff like that. So if you go and you put this flat, and then you take your drill press drill and you push on it, and if you push too much, you're gonna bend the coin. So you have to do it. You should do it with a nice thick pair of leather gloves on, because it will get really hot. So protect your hands, have some water to dunk it in, and hold it in your hand tight as you can, because that drill is going to muscle it, and if it catches on the steel, it's going to be caught in there. You'll have to screw around with it, and it could be a pain in the ass unless you get lucky. But just know that what I'm trying to say is too much force with the drill, and you'll bend you'll bend the coin and all the work that you've been trying to achieve. So anyways, once you drill a hole in the coin, once you drill a hole in this, and then a bigger hole and a bigger hole, hopefully you pretend this washer is that ring in question. So you got a big hole like this in this now, in your work. That's a good thing. And what you would do is you grab a round file and finish it off. That's kind of a disgusting motion. So you know what I mean. You would take your round file, get it in there, and grind the living shit out of it. Hang on a sec. So anyways, fucking static electricity. So you get your round file, this ain't a file, and you would frickin' grind the living shit out of that. And sorry for the language, but you're trying to grind that hole down and down and down and down until you have a ring. And what you'll have is this little, on the inside of the ring, you'll have this little tiny band, and it's almost flush with the inside. In fact, you can get it flush. So the next step is getting rid of the rest of the metal between, you know, to make a ring out of it. Another trick is, it's a really good thing to pull out your Dremel. Throw a Dremel stone in it, or one of these things here. You know, on your Dremel, you have these little sanding sandpaper drums or whatever. So you would get that in there and drill the living hell out of it, and this is your best friend for this or a file. And brrr, so pretty much to give you an idea, you'd be you know, working the inners of this of the ring here, and polishing it and grinding it. Be careful not to grind out your nice lettering, because don't forget you'll have lettering from the coin on the inside, and you want to keep that so you can show people it's a a coin ring, and it's really kind of neat to look inside and see, you know, United States of America or Canada or something like that. It's really neat. So of course, you know, so to recap, once you've hammered it to the width you want, you drill a hole and then further refine that hole with bigger and bigger drill bits, and it could be a pain in the ass and it gets hot. And then finally get the hole big enough to cram this sucker in, or a file or something, and then get rid of all that, and you'll see what I mean. You'll know that, oh, okay, I'm starting to have a ring here, and you grind it right down. And then after everything's said and done, your very last step is to take some sandpaper, maybe 1000 grit or whatever you have, and sand, you know, clean off the ring, sand it down, kind of thing. And then your final thing is to polish the metal, and it will come to a brilliant gleam. You could also touch up the insides with sandpaper and sand it nice and super smooth. And you could also take little polishing compounds and sand the inners out to make it as smooth as possible. You could engrave your true love's name or whatever, your you know, if it's a gift or whatever, you could put your own name on there, stuff like that. And so anyways, guys, I hope that made sense, because that's really just the way it's done. For instance, right now I got this ring almost to the point where I'm going to start drilling a hole at it. I want the lettering on the inside to I want to peen it a little more so that lettering gets on the inside and a little more crisper. So I have to now drill the hole and get rid of the rest of that metal. So anyways, that's about it. And before my memory card on my camera runs out, that's the whole idea, and in the end you end up with a beautiful ring, and you can get really good at it, and you know, maybe make some money off it, or cool Christmas gifts, stuff like that. Anyways, guys, it's Jax here. I hope that made sense. If not, drop me a line and I'll try to correct whatever I screwed up or didn't make clear. Anyways, have a good night, and we'll see you later. Bye.